devotional service itself?
In devotional service itself, yes. Good. Okay, so the four are from sin. They are called dushkritotha. Dushkrita means bad acts, uttha, rising. Pious are sukritotha, from sukriti, good, arising from good acts. Then from offenses, and it's called aparadhotta. And from bhakti, so successfully performed, we can say from bhakti, which is unfocused, let's say. Okay, so these are the four main categories of the honor.
So how can I understand that if I do offenses or sinful activities, that helps me to clear things?
Why should it help?
Because that's what it says, right?
No. So in other words, we have four areas where we have obstacles. And these are the four sources of these obstacles. So sin is one source of obstacles. Pious activities is one source of obstacles. We will now discuss what exact obstacles are coming from it. So it will become more clear. So sin, obviously, if somebody performed some sin, then obviously some obstacle will be there. Is it obvious, right? Is it evident, self-evident? Yes. Now, why pious activities would create obstacles? We become attached, yes. And then, like, for example, by your infinite piety, you could take lunch in our Zurich temple. And because you are very pious, this is a very good lunch. And maybe there was a lot of nice samosas, fried, heavy stuff, and you ate, because you're very pious, you had a lot of it. So after that, you feel, because you're very pious, you feel a little peaceful in the class. Maybe even too peaceful. Completely peaceful. And then it's a little hard to maybe digest with your... We have one fire of digestion here called Sadaga Agni, which digests thoughts. One of 5 fires in Ayurveda. But because after very nice pakora and samosa, the fire, all fire goes from here, goes there. And here's not enough. Right? Experience sometimes something like this? Hare Krishna. So that's from piety, obviously. Okay. So we have the description here. It's been elaborated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur even better in his Harinam Chintamani. So I will give you another list from Harinam Chintamani. As always, it's easier to remember these things in Sanskrit, because here you have addiction to enjoying results of pious acts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. Whereas in Sanskrit, you just say bhukti or bhoga. Yeah? Basically, these 4 are bhukti, mukti, siddhi, and svarga. Easy, right? Bhukti, too many fried pakoras. Bhukti, yes? Or is it svarga? I don't know. Heavenly planets. But I'm joking. I'm just sorry. I'm trying to make some jokes. Our Mahaprasadam here is such that you take some pakora and you feel universal love. Truly, it pacifies. Mahaprasad has this power. Especially this is Jagannath Kshetra. Where you have Jagannath, you have good prasadam. That's a rule. Jagannath and his associates, they established this rule that Jagannath, good prasad. So at any rate, it's very interesting. So 4 main categories, and it's expanded into, of course, there are more, but basically you can expand them into 16 main areas. So 4 general areas and 4 examples in each. So in the offenses, you have Namaparadas, Sevaparadas. There are also Vaishnavaparadas. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in his verse, Chitkana or Jiva Parada. Meaning if we are cruel just to any living entity, that can also harm or stop our spiritual development. Even non-devotees. Even if they do not become devotees, still such cruelty or offense harms our spiritual development. What if they become devotees? Like we see in the Bhagavatam, Dhruva was offended before he became a devotee. And then he became a devotee, and then it all of a sudden became a Vaishnava aparat. Yes? So let me show you the Sanskrit, how our Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains them. Okay, so Chaturvidha. He gives also some other titles to them. So Dushkritota, anarthas coming from sin, he calls Tattva Vibhrama ignorance. So you can see here 5 kleshas which are beginning with ignorance, 5 products of ignorance. And in his other books, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains what 4 types of ignorance are the result of sin. So if somebody is sinful, 4 types of ignorance are Svatattva Brahma, Paratattva Brahma. We misunderstand who am I? What's the self? What's the self? We don't understand. We mix it with, am I a body? Am I eternal? Am I God? Yeah, something. Some people are bewildered, you know. Although, you know, once you spend some time as a devotee, it sounds so funny, you know. How can you think you're God, you know? Just try to do little things, something. You're so small. But, yeah. So, Svatattva, Paratattva, then Sadhya Sadhana, Brahma. We misunderstand what's the goal and what's the method. So, what's the goal? What's the goal of life? Krishna Prema, yeah, love of God. Not merging, not heavenly planets, not becoming God. Yes? Some people, again, misunderstand. And sadhana, what is our method? We see even that there are some people who know that the goal of life is love of God, but they don't understand what's the sadhana, what's the method. And also virodhi, what are the obstacles? Like, for example, some people think that, yes, Krishna Prema is the goal, Harinama Sankirtana is the sadhana, and obstacles are only, okay, offenses. And other than that, smoking is okay, illicit sex is okay, drugs is okay, because what is stronger than the holy name? Nothing. Right? 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 Wrong. It does impede our progress. Yes, nothing is stronger, but some offenses are very weak until we start justifying them. Then they become the 7th offense. They become personal insult to the holy name. Yes, if I say, come on, you know, the holy name easily will purify. Holy name is so powerful. Then I exploit the holy name. Yes, I exploit. Then it's no longer on its itself. That act may be insignificant. really insignificant. But when I exploit the holy name, then it becomes a very unpleasant offense, the seventh offense.
It's the knowledge of that, right? Like
Not the knowledge.
If I would
not the knowledge.
know it, if I would not know it and do this, it would be probably not so
offensive.
Offensive.
That's Ravindra Swarup Prabhu's joke. Yes, he says that why we become why our progress slows down because we understand, and we understand that this is wrong, and then it becomes conscious mistake. So if you didn't know, ignorance is bliss. Yes, if you don't know, you're it's a joke. It's a joke. No, it's not really so. Actually, all of this study helps us to avoid the, you have the invisible reefs and rocks under the surface of the sea. So you understand. Don't swim there. Swim around so you can avoid shallow places and obstacles. So these are the four results of what? Sinful activities. Four types of ignorance. Four types of ignorance are the results of sinful dushkritot. These are dushkritota anartha. If I'm sinful, I will be confused. Brahma is like confusion. I'll be confused about these four things. Who am I? Who is the Supreme? What's the goal of life and the process? And what are the obstacles? I will think that, come on, four regular principles, who needs them? Just chant. I will never even think that this could be not nice.
Regarding the offense that you mentioned, that one relying on the strength of the holy name, then performing sinful activities, how is it categorized if someone is desiring purification without the kind of intent to pursue, to continue acting sinfully? Means that he prays, saying, "Please, Krishna, please purify me."
Yes.
How would that be?
So this is the subtle. That's this subtle line. So in Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary to 930, api chet suduracharo. Yeah. Interestingly enough, this describes a devotee who does very bad things, abominable things. Not duracharo, but suduracharo, very bad things. But in the next, even in Srila Prabhupada's purport, you see that in the next purport, he mentions a pure devotee 2 times. That this person could be called a pure devotee. Again, it's returning to what we discussed before lunch. Why? Because Ananya Bhak, just bhakti, and Samyak Vyavasito, only Krishna bhakti is the goal. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains the mentality, what helps him to not be an aparadhi. He says that this devotee thinks that I am a black spot among the devotees, and for my horrible acts, let me go to hell to pay for my bad acts, but I will never give up bhakti, and I will never worship anybody else except Krishna. So he's not trying to exploit Krishna. Like, come on, I'm a bhakta, just chant Hare Krishna or go around Tulasi. Yani kani chapapani. Done. No. He says, let me go to hell. Let me pay. But I will never give up bhakti, and I will never choose anybody else. He says, even if Lord Brahma comes and says, no, you do some yoga and worship Indra a little bit, or Ganesh, he will purify you, or something. No, I will always worship Krishna, and I will never give up bhakti. So therefore, he is technically a pure devotee. He's not pure, definitely, but he's following the path of the first-class bhakti. We were discussing that in Switzerland, we like things first class. So that's why we should only take the first-class bhakti, Uttama bhakti. Right? First class bhakti. So he's following the path of pure bhakti, the first class, the path of the first class bhakti. And therefore, kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Very quickly he becomes righteous. Very quickly he becomes purified. And even if he dies before, still Krishna will protect him. So he's not trying to exploit the name, bhakti, Krishna. That's a fine line, yes? Because we know it purifies. You know, one step yani kani chapapani, one step around tulsi, finished. But if I think, or as Gopal Krishna Maharaj during the initiation, that's a classic lecture during the initiation, that what are the 10 offenses of chanting the holy name. He gives an interesting, he often gives an interesting comment on that 7th offense. What's the 7th offense?
Activities on the strength of the holy name.
Yes. So he says, I can think, I have chanted already for so long. So what if I do a little, you know, it's nothing, it'll purify. So I'm exploiting. So in other words, I turn bhakti into some, you know, type of karma piety just to counter it. So that's, sin is nothing, but that becomes a personal offense. Meaning that I'm not treating Krishna as my worshipable Lord. Okay, so 4 types of ignorance are the result of sinful activity. Then what are the 4 obstacles for anarthas coming from pious sukritotha, or here Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls them asat trishna. Trishna means thirst, dust, or the strong desire, similar word, for asat, something material or temporary, non-eternal. So these are 4 types: bhutivancha, mumuksha, aihika. So basically, an easy way you can say that this is, oops, what did I do? How did it come? Amazing. Okay. So that's bhukti, that's svarga, this is siddhi, and this is mukti. So bhukti, mukti, svarga, siddhi. These are famous words, and in Sanskrit, again, just 2 syllables, easy to remember, 4 varieties. So why piety produces this? Because it's just right here, just on the table. You know, the nice, juicy, ghee-dripping samosa is right here, right here. Just asking, put me in your mouth or something, right? Easy. So also, if you're pious, then all these things are there. Some mystic powers, the ability to go to Swarga, even liberation, not so difficult. So therefore, it's tempting. It looks attractive. So these sin and piety produce these 4 types of ignorance and 4 types of asat trishna, material desires. Is it okay?
I assume liberation refers exclusively to the impersonal liberation.
Well, as a goal, yes, but even personal, the famous verse says, Diyamanam nagrihnati vinamat sevanampara, that if it's not our service, even if Krishna gives this liberation, devotee will refuse any of the 5 types of liberation. Impersonal always, but even personal. Like so many devotees, in fact, could go to Vaikuntha. But very often devotees will say, no, let me not waste billions of years on the intermediate station. Let me again take birth here and train more to go to Vrindavan, to Goloka Vrindavan. So they will refuse because they want to be engaged in service and not just chill out.
But the assumption would be that then there's no service in Vaikuntha.
It's not their service. They are just chilling out there. You know, yeah, they can. Vaikuntha is easier, obviously, than Goloka Vrindavan, and many devotees already, you know, could. There is also the Vaikuntha in the material world, which is even more easy, even easier. Could go, but oftentimes you will say, no, let me just finish and go to Goloka Vrindavan. Take another birth and train more and go to Goloka Vrindavan. So, if it's Krishna's service, then yes, okay, then we do. Even if it seems we have some big project, we still go. Like now we are all mourning Bhakti Charu Maharaja's departure. It seems, oh, he's such a nice project there, the land, and so many aspiring candidates. But you know, if the Vaikuntha or Goloka Vimana comes and Krishna says, please, I need you, let's go, I need you there, then you go, right? But if it's not, then as Prabhupada was telling his disciples, pray to Krishna, sing Kirtan, pray to Krishna, that if it's your desire, let our spiritual master still continue, stay a little more. Because after his heart attack in the USA, yeah, because he had been preaching just for a couple of years so far. Then at the end, he allowed kirtans, but it was not so insistent. Okay, so 4 types of ignorance and 4 types of enjoyment, coming from sin, coming from piety. Now, the 4 types of offenses. So Krishna Nama. So these are the 10 offenses every other day you have in the temple, right? We repeat in the morning. Svarupeshu, this is what we call Seva Parad. So these are 32 plus 30 plus 8 offenses that are listed in so many places, like sit with our back to the deities, enter the temple in a car. Here it's difficult, but in a palanquin. Yeah? You can ask, okay, Alexei and Mano, bring me in palanquin into the temple, you know. Or in shoes. There was some, like 15 years ago in Bombay, there was some minister, I think. He was a very rough guy, and he refused to take off his shoes when he came to the temple in Juhu. Leather shoes. He refused. He didn't want to take them off. So not even the guards or devotees, just local people, just pushed him out of the property. They just came and said, "Go away, go away," even though he's a big boss with bodyguards and everything. They said, "No, go away, go away." So he just didn't want to take off his shoes. So the neighbors protected him from the offense. In Vrindavan, oftentimes you see some, even the prime minister or the president will come to the temple. Oftentimes. You have these bodyguards with assault rifles and everything, but you know they always do it in a humble way.
They say often let the shoes on, that they feel comfortable, and for the preaching purpose we let them in, not that they feel not comfortable. What is your opinion? So
of the two, Seva Parada. It is known that Seva Parada is easily counteracted by chanting. So if for the preaching purposes you let somebody enter and try to inspire them in chanting and in devotional service, that's a preaching consideration. And if they chant, then it's easily removed. But if they think, oh, I will chant and I will counteract, and it becomes, again, the 7th offense, exploitation of the name. And then this is very bad. This very bad, hard to remove. So Seva Parada, very easy to remove. But then if we think that it's very easy to remove, then it becomes very difficult to remove. It becomes the seventh offense. Okay, so these are three, so far three, and one more remaining. What is the remaining one of the four? Yes. We can say actually say of incomplete execution of devotional service, or we can even say imperfect execution of devotional service. Incomplete, let's say incomplete. And four are mentioned, although you can see that they match the weeds from Chaitanya, upashakas from Chaitanya Charitamrita. They are the weeds growing in the heart. So they are called Bhaktyuta by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, interestingly enough, they are called Hrid Dorbalyam or Hridaya Dorbalyam, weakness of heart. Weakness of heart. And there are four of these weaknesses. Tucha asakti, attachment to tucha. Tucha means insignificant material enjoyments. Tucha, Prabhupada is using this word. Have you heard it? Onomatopoeic? Onomatopoeic. It's a funny word. Cuckoo is an onomatopoeic word. She's called cuckoo because she says cuckoo. It's called onomatopoeia. The name is given by the sound. So tucha, the meaning is insignificant, but it's based on the sound of spitting. Pucha. This is the idea. Pucha. How do you spit in German?
Germans don't do.
Huh?
Germans don't do.
No, the sound, imitative sound. What's the English? Something few, something with five. No.
Pui.
Pui, yes. And yeah, pui, yes. Yeah. In Swiss, how?
In Swiss, I would say pui.
Pui, yes. Yeah. So tucha, that's pui. That's insignificant. And you are attached, and we are attached to it. Yeah? So some trinkets, some facilities. So there are, again, four given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So these are some material objects. Kutinati is fault-finding, diplomacy, intrigues, politics. Kutinati, it even sounds kutinati, like something, some intrigues. Matsarya, that you know, means envy, yes. And swapratishtata, pride, prestige, pratishtha being established as, don't you know who I am? Oh, I am. Doesn't matter. Doesn't even have to be positive. I could be a very, very, very bad boy. Like you can see some devotees. They can't become established as doing something positive, so they try to make name by being a whistleblower, by pulling down everybody else, right? Even in a negative way, but to be prominent. In one brahmachari ashram in Dnipro, there was one brahmachari who would go around and point everybody's trouble out, and he said, I will go to hell, but I will make you a pure devotee. He's gone. I'm not sure the others have become pure devotees. Anyway, we can mention him as an example in the class. Maybe he'll get some benefit. So you can see there is a certain sequence here. I want some prestige, status, position. Therefore, I will envy. some competitors and rivals. Therefore, I will fault find and do intrigues and diplomatic and games and politics. And because of these, I will have material desires attacking me. I will be attached, like Bhaktisiddhantaji was complaining that his disciples are fighting for rooms, who gets which room in the temple. So there is a certain sequence. This is the most subtle inside, and then still subtle, and then it goes more gross, more gross. This is inside. This is like the mind. This is like the words, and that's already the body, right? BMW, body, mind, words. So you have to offer all of it to Krishna. Some questions or comments? Now, what is very interesting is that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives us a schedule, how they are removed. What is the schedule of their removal? He establishes different degrees, to which degree they are removed. In Sanskrit, it's Ekadesha Vartini, translated as partial. Ekadesha means in spots. So here I'm free, here I'm not free. So like sweet samosa, I'm renounced. But paneer samosa, I don't know. So Ekadesha Vartini. Then the next one is Bahudesha Vartini, many places, pervasive. That sweet samosa and even paneer samosa, I am renounced. But mangoes or peaches, well, I'm not. Or just one type of mango, let's say. Yes. So all mangoes I'm renounced. But this Alfonso mango, well, I don't know. I'm joking. So meaning that pervasive, almost complete, but mostly complete. Yeah. Then the next one is almost complete, then complete, and absolute. Yeah. So this was my big discovery when we were going through this in Munich. It struck me that from this, it is clear how a devotee is free from karma. Because what is karma? What is karma? Karma consists of two types of activities. Huh? Action and reaction, yes. And reaction to two types of actions. Yeah, pious and impious. So sin and pious, right? So that's karma. Karma is only two types of action. Pious and impious. Sin and pious activities. Yes? You plant a nice tree or make a nice garden, park, something. Yes? Yeah, like in Zurich, you have the drinking water fountains all around the city. Yeah, it's a classic pious act that wherever you go, within 300 meters, you have a drinking fountain. You don't have to pay 4 francs for a teeny bottle of for half a liter of drinking water. Or you eat meat or something. Yeah? So this is karma, these two types of activities. And oftentimes we think that, oh, Prabhu, you are so fortunate, but my karma is so bad. How can I, that's why I can't advance in bhakti so nicely. You are nice. For you it's easy, but for me, my karma doesn't let me. Do we sometimes think like this? That, you're very fortunate, you're very special, but I have such a tough karma. So from here, you can see something interesting. So all karma is this, dushkritota, sukritota. And when is it cleared? Almost completely cleared. Where? Bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya, it means not even anartha nivritti. You haven't even started looking into your heart. Yeah? We have come to the temple and we think, of course I'm not an avatar, but at least maybe, you know, a sage or something. We haven't even realized. You know, after you have been coming for half a year, you understand that not only I'm not an avatar, it looks like I'm not even a sage. You know? Usually half a year is enough, right? To realize I'm not a So that's even before this introspection and anartha nivritti. And already almost complete freedom from sin and piety, from obstacles from sin and piety. And if you look, what are these obstacles? It's obvious, because the 4 obstacles of sin are confusion about who I am, confusion about who God is, confusion about the process, and confusion about the obstacles. But this is the first thing you learn as soon as you cross the door. They say, Prabhu, don't eat meat. You are not God. You are a servant of God. Krishna is God. Bhakti is the process. 4 regulative principles. You know, sometimes I was in Harinams. We sing Hare Krishna, and then the guy takes the megaphone, the loudspeaker, and says, we are Hare Krishna. We follow the 4 regulative principles. No. Like the first, come on. That's not who you are. I mean, we do this, yes. Put it as a footnote, you know, a little. At least let them start or something. As Prabhupada said, when I tell them they will tell about the 4 principles, they will send me home immediately. But yes, we say this very quickly. So, ignorance, which is a product of sin, is removed very quickly. You just open 3 pages of any of Srila Prabhupada's books, and you immediately, on every page you find bhakti. That's Srila Prabhupada's genius. Other books, even Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit, Krishna introduces bhakti little by little. Yeah, chapter 2, just 1 syllable, Yukta Asita Matpara, 261. 1 teeny drop, like with a dripper of bhakti. Chapter 3, just, you know, half a verse, 330. So he introduces bhakti very gradually. But in Srila Prabhupada's books, any page you open, do bhakti, chant Hare Krishna. Because, you know, he knows we don't study books systematically. So he makes sure that wherever you read, you will get what's necessary. So ignorance is removed as soon as you get in touch with bhajana kriya, and piety, again, very quickly you learn that bhukti, material enjoyment, is not the goal of life. Svarga, heavenly planets, is not the goal of life. Mystic powers is not the goal of life. We did have Danis who thought that liberation is the goal of life. How many days did he stay in the temple? How many days was it that he was in the temple?
He's announcing sometime.
Yeah?
He's not attending so many classes.
Yeah? But usually also, you know, Prabhu, liberation is not the goal of life. Especially not impersonal liberation, not the impersonal liberation. So again, you open a few pages, and so these things, you just start reading, start hearing, start coming to the classes, and almost complete. Not complete, not absolute, but at least you understand, okay, that's Krishna is the goal, Krishna Bhakti is the goal. So karma doesn't stop you. See? Not even from anartha nivritti, from bhajana kriya. Karma is no longer an obstacle, because ignorance is removed and the goals are refuted of karmic goals. So what remains is bhaktyutta and aparadota. Anarthas. So bhaktyutta we see that the main area where we work upon them is Anartha Nivritti, because they come in Bhajana Kriya. They will come from Bhajana Kriya. Because, oftentimes we come to the temple, we join, and, we dropped out of a university, we didn't do this, and then we are put in some significant position, then we preach to those professors in the university, and then you think, oh, it's me, right? And then we take the second place in Srila Prabhupada Marathon, how many books have you distributed? Oh. and when there was competition, they would, in the morning, they would tie the shoes of the competitors so that they waste time untying and they out distributing. So some kind of, you can see some kind of envy or competitiveness and kutinati. So it only comes in devotional series, in incomplete devotional series. But Anartha Nivritti is where you're supposed to work on it, remove it. These are upashakas. Like when you grow your Bhaktilata creeper, any plant, so many things are growing, which is the frequent pastime with Tulasi Devi, yes? Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Nama. And somebody comes and says, why are you worshipping a pumpkin? Why are you singing Tulsi Puja to a pumpkin? Or whatever, some plant that grew. They planted and something else grew. And they don't know, so they were. So the same happens also with bhakti. Other things grow. And we think it's for Krishna. This position, it's for preaching. Prabhu, it's for preaching. Attachments and competitiveness. This is for preaching. This is for results, for book distribution, right? It's for Krishna. So they grow with bhakti, but so we have to figure this out and consciously remove. We have to find them. Do I want to become famous and or infamous, notorious? Do I want to get some position or something, right? Do I want to be special? I have to look inside. Yes, I want. I have to find it. Put a finger on it and then say, ding! Okay, Krishna. Even if, I think it's for your service, but if you think not, okay, don't give it. Don't give it, I'm okay. So we find it and give it to Krishna. Take it out. So in other words, Krishna, your pleasure. Krishna, for you. So that's Anartha Nivritti. And then at Nishta, it's complete. So you can see at Nishta, almost, so karma finished, complete. Bhaktyuta, complete. What to speak about ruchi, taste? Absolute. These Bhaktyuta anarthas, false prestige and politics and all, absolutely absent. Absolutely absent. Not even a shadow, right? There is only one trouble area, this. Yeah? You can see even at prema, some trace remains. So that's why there is aparada, offenses. So you can see, even at prema, it's not complete. It's not absolute. It's only complete, meaning some trace remains until we get personal darshan of Krishna. So that's why so much warning about offenses. This is the most dangerous one. So we need to really work on it. So that's the schedule given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I think it's very fascinating how things are moving. So any questions or comments here?
Regarding Anartha Nivritti as a process, you mentioned a few things, some a bit I'm sometimes wondering what exactly is a person doing when the person is performing what we call an attentibility as a process. Some have a bit of passive understanding, it happens on the way when we perform devotional service, others have an active understanding, we do something. And we see that sometimes, or like for ourselves, I also can see many of our I might be aware of them, but the process of how to plug them out, for example, or like, if you could speak something about what does it entail, how do we perform an attentibility, and how does it involve other devotees or like the spiritual master?
Yeah, okay. So you have the list, yeah, here. So you can see the root of all is my status, some kind of false ego. Can be spiritualized false ego, right? I am a senior devotee. Or something, yes? Spiritualized false ego. Krishna Kshetra Maharaj had a very funny button he bought somebody gave him in London. It said, a senior member of community. It's a joke, right? So he put several of these buttons on his parikrama bag. So we can, it's actually a process, you know, it's called surrender. You find these upadhis, these designations, you actually look for them. Do I have envy? Do I have envy? Do I envy somebody? So then I have to find it, and then I counteract it with wishing well to this devotee. Or I can even go deeper to this false ego. Why am I envious? Because I want some recognition myself. So I can go to Krishna and say, find this desire. Do I want recognition? Yes, I want. So I go to Krishna, and of course I have perfectly valid reason. Recognition is good. I can use it for Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas in Mayavad Sampradaya to get recognition to preach. I'm using it for Krishna, right? Right. But if I'm attached, this is Hridaya Durbalyam, weakness of heart. So I go to Krishna and I say that, Krishna, this is my attachment, so I think it's usable for devotional service, but if you don't give, I agree. It's inner introspection, inner work, looking inside. This is weeding the garden. Can you all think of some goal, intermediate goal in devotional service? Like living in Vrindavan, like just distributing 3,000 books for the marathon, or learning some skill, learning some language, becoming very expert in this. Can you all think of something for yourself inside? Everybody has some intermediate goal? Build a new temple, get a van for Krishna, collect the next 5 million francs for Krishna. Yes? Everybody has something that you can... And now, can you say, Krishna, it's for you. We are offering this for you. So that goal, this intermediate achievement or success is for you. So I certainly would like to attain it within 6 months. So if you want to give your mercy, please help. I will do my work. You can give this result. Or if you don't want, you can give it after 2 years, or after 5 years, or after 15 years, or never. Can you agree? Never. Krishna, if you say never, I will still serve you. I will agree. I will accept. I will surrender. So this is this work on our desires and attachments. We surrender this to Krishna. And if it's difficult, then we ask blessings from devotees. Please pray that at least once every 2 weeks I have genuine taste for the holy names. Yes? And we go to Guru and say, Guru Maharaj, such trouble, so difficult, please bless me. Yeah? So, these are some ways to work upon these areas.
What about envy? It is told that this is practically only anartha which we cannot use in devotional service or offer to Krishna in some way. Like, what to do with that?
So we try to replace it. What is envy? Envy means that I want what this person has, or I want this person to fail, basically. Yeah? So the medicine for it, that I pray, may he succeed. All good fortune to him, to this person. May this person succeed in every way. So basically, gunadikam mudam lipset. We are happy that he is or she is successful, and we wish them all the best. And if it's difficult, then means we have to work on false ego. That okay, I'm not this or that. I'm just Krishna das, dasana das. All devotees are vancha kalpatarubhescha, kripa sindubhya. All devotees are oceans of mercy, not puddles, not cups, not even lakes, oceans of mercy. Yeah? So it means we wish everybody the best.
What do you think is like, if you do something out of maybe fame, you have a desire for fame, and you have an ego, that's ego-driven, false ego-driven, but you're doing something good for Krishna, like you want to be the best preacher in the world, and you preach to many peoples, and you convert them actually, but you're not doing it. You're actually doing it because you want to be famous and you want to be proud. But still, you're doing
something good.
Good job, right?
Yes. Yes. So?
Is that what?
Is that acceptable?
Is that acceptable? Or is it not pure and he should rather die and not do anything? For him, would it be better to not do it?
Bhajana kriya, acceptable. Some beginning of anartha nivriti, half acceptable. But we have to learn to do it for Krishna. Not for... So you can see Prabhupada engaged in competition and everything. He engaged devotees. But we need to learn to move higher. We have to, first of all, the first thing, we have to see it very clearly. Okay, I'm moved by this competitiveness. I am moved by competitiveness. We have to at least see, be honest to ourselves. Yeah? And normally we see that whoever in devotional service, whoever doesn't become a Madhyam Bhakta, meaning who doesn't have solid friends in Krishna consciousness, they disappear. They can't continue. So we need some friends with whom we do not compete. The usual tendency, if we see somebody equal, we compete. Yeah? We say, oh, I went there, I did this, I distributed that, and how are you? Have you done this? Oh, you've done that. But did you do? I did this. In English it's called one-upmanship. One up. I'm one up. It's a competition. So Prabhupada says, no. Try to appreciate the other person. And speak about Krishna. Discuss the glories of Krishna. And this is the cure for such rivalry, false ego competition. And such Krishna conscious discussions between friends is the juice that nourishes our heart. Juice that nourishes our heart with friends. Because who are friends? We say, home, sweet home. Why the home is sweet? Because home is where you can be yourself. Friends are those who accept you who you are. They know your worst secrets and they have not run away. Right? It means you don't have to pretend. You can be yourself. Why we are tired? Because we pretend. That's why we are tired. And home, you can relax, right? And so if you're who you are without pretending, and you speak about Krishna, it means Krishna for you is not part of the official program, it's part of the real life. So that's very nourishing. It gives you juice and taste. That's why it's so important to talking Krishna among friends. I'm still trying to find that article from Burijan Prabhu, talking about Krishna among friends. Yeah, the whole program for it. Okay, dear friends, Hare Krishna. The bell struck 3 o'clock. We have a 10-minute break. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Congratulations. We are discussing the fourth shower. Nectar begins to flow. Nishta. The nectar. The fourth rainfall of nectar. And it has some very subtle points. Some famous points and some subtle points and some controversial points. So, in general, nishta means steady. So, obviously, as long as anarthas are present, then it's going to still be anishtita. One day we are full of enthusiasm, the other day not so much. And then the next one is quite famous. We have these four, or rather 5 obstacles. You could even ascribe them to the 3 modes. So, laya. Laya, you know a similar word, pralaya, the universal destruction. So that's sleep. During japa, during Shravana in the class, and even during kirtan. It's a rather advanced level, you know, but during kirtan, but it happens too, sometimes. So, this you can see an obstacle connected to which guna? Apparently, right? Then the next one, vikshepa, distraction. So, yes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Yes, so good. Yes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. So that's like which guna? Yes, distraction. And for it, we have classic exercises in yoga that you try to see the chain of the distracting thoughts. And when you mark them, then these chains become shorter and shorter. Yeah? So you try to observe your mind during japa. And there are many ways to chant your japa in such a way that you can be focused and absorbed. You can also apply it to the kirtan. So what is your favorite way to avoid distraction during japa?
Sitting down.
Sitting down, yes, sitting down. If this is not too much of an obstacle, right? Becoming too absorbed.
Flight mode of the phone. Phone in flight mode.
Phone in the flight mode, yes. Yeah. What else?
Seeing or focusing on the Krishna's energy in the surroundings, which is, it can be a discussion, but if I walk in the forest.
So you remember it's all Krishna's energy, so it sort of catches you back and brings you back to Krishna. So there is hundreds of different techniques and methods to help you catch your mind. You can remember that Bhaktisiddhanta said that every morning you should beat your mind 100 times with a shoe. Boom, 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 boom. Doesn't mean the shoe, doesn't mean the head. He explains, it means bring the mind back 100 times. Yeah? So 100 times, count 100 times when you actually remember, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Count 100 better mantras. Or Burijan Prabhu says, chant one mantra at a time. So there are many ways to do it. Okay. Then And the next one, apratipati. You're not asleep, nothing distracts you. Everything is good, no taste. No taste, no inspiration, apratipati. Indifference. So that could be a sign of some sattvic situation, that everything is good in your life, but maybe too good. You have nothing to pray for. Then two more are kashaya and rasasvada. So bad habits. So anger is mentioned, some greed, so some bad activities we indulge in. And rasasvad, some taste for some material things that takes our mind away. So these are the five signs. These are the famous 5 signs of not having nishta. So when you do have nishta, these 5 signs will not be there. You will be steady.
Sometimes, sleeping, when we have maybe some health issues,
Yes.
then we also sleep.
Yes.
Is this?
No.
No. I saw once some as example, some spiritual masters, they were sleeping in kirtan, and they're really on a high level, but they have like heart problem, and then the body cannot,
yes.
and then.
Yes. I recently asked in Ljubljana, Prahlada Maharaj was there. I asked, what should I think about devotees who fall asleep in the class and during japa? How should I think about it? He said, you should think that they are dreaming about Krishna because in the night they didn't dream enough about Krishna. So they are catching up on their Krishna conscious dreams. That's what you should think. No problem. So it's actually a separate point that we should be balanced. You can see that Srila Prabhupada emphasizes not oversleeping, but if you study 60 years ago in the USA, when Srila Prabhupada was preaching, and also here, people would sleep 8 hours, maybe 9 hours a day, whereas now they hardly get 6 hours, right? And we have lost too many devotees to sleepy driving and crashing the cars, right? So you can also sleep too little. That's also possible. Right? Krishna says one cannot be a yogi if you sleep too much or too little. So you need to find the proper balance. And 8 hours is the recommendation of between 6 and 8 hours of modern medical scholars. And even if you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, if you go at 8, if you go to bed at 8, you still get 8 hours. Of course, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said that we all get 8 hours because we have 6 hours scheduled, plus we have 2 hours of japa. Yes. And one bonus hour of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a joke, okay? But yeah, you need to find some balance. Sometimes we do we are imbalanced maybe, if it's for too long. Okay, so these are the five obstacles, and then we have different ideas. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that there are 3 areas, body, mind, words, and some say it goes from the gross to the subtle, and some say it goes from the subtle to the gross. He doesn't seem to take sides. He doesn't seem to say that, no, only this is correct, only that is correct. He just says there are 2 schools of thought. Some say you start with the gross, and you regulate your gross body, and then it regulates your subtle body. But obviously also to regulate your gross body, if you probably there will be different types of people, and usually even to regulate your gross body, you have to have this goal, right? On the other hand, if you do regulate your gross body, it's easier to regulate also the subtle body. That's the idea, the whole idea of the Ashtanga yoga and regulated lifestyle. But what's really interesting is the next point about qualities, the qualities. So if somebody is in Nishta, should he be good as a person? Kind, tolerant, or can he be maybe sometimes a little angry, a little irritated, but he's very steady in his japa, mangalarati, all the shravanam, kirtanam, all the other areas.
No, it said, before it says you cannot have anger and greed in Nishta.
Where?
Slide before.
Residual anger.
Yeah, that's kashaya. It's the sinful habits. It's angry to the extent that you punch somebody in the nose. You know, like, that's a sinful habit. What if you are angry but you don't punch anybody in the nose and you are not even calling them an idiot? You're just feeling angry. Yeah.
It's okay.
I would say yes. I think all the emotions might be present in an advanced devotee. He handles them differently.
Huh?
He handles them differently.
Handle them differently, yes, yeah. They can appear. In general, actually, it's very funny. There are two different translations. Can you please raise this one? This is Dina Bandhu, and I understand Banu Maharaj was a contributor, and recently he re-edited and published it anew. So this one is for free on Kindle Unlimited, but I think we also posted a link, right? It's been around. Sarvabhavana Prabhu, our famous German-speaking, is he Bengali or, I don't remember. Bengali? Yeah, German-speaking Bengali, or how you call it, I don't know. German Bengali or Bengali German, or so he did another translation also. So we have several translations of this book, and it's interesting. In different translations, it's translated in the opposite ways. In one translation, it says that you cannot be in Nishta and not have good qualities, and in another translation, it says you cannot be, you can be in Nishta and have not all good qualities. We were sitting with Radhika Raman Prabhu for 1 hour, trying to decipher the Sanskrit. What is the grammar there? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that it's not that straightforward. He says basically, sorry guys, he says, you have to be on Nishta yourself to actually figure it out. He says, with my childish understanding, how can I see who is if I'm not in Nishta, if I'm a baby, how can I see he's in Nishta, he's not in Nishta? Because, he says, sometimes you can have sattvic character, material mode of goodness, and therefore you will be tolerant, kind, and nice, but not steady in bhakti. Right? On another hand, you can be steady in bhakti, but because of some upbringing or past, you may have some residual character defects. But actually, you are steady in your bhakti. So he says, to be fully honest, we need to be ourselves at the stage of Nishta to see it properly. But then he says, mercifully, he gives his Sankshepata, he gives a short conclusion. He says, in short, it's a very funny, Shravana kirtanadishu yatnasya shaithilya prabalya eva dustyajya. It's very interesting. It says, one who is, in short, the stage of bhakti is indicated by the ability, sambhavanti, to consistently overcome the unyielding Unyielding is like refractory, unbiegsam. Unbiegsam, yeah, that, right? Yeah. Unyielding, dustyaja, difficult to give up, very ingrown, deeply rooted. Shaithilya, shaithilya is coolness, like translated as laxity. Laxity, disinterest. You can say disinterest here. Disinterest towards efforts in hearing and chanting. Shravana kirtanadishu, yatnasya, effort, shaithilya, disinterest, which is dustyajya, which is very strong and which is difficult to give up. So when you can, consistently give it up. That's nishta. Sorry, this is like 7-story sentence, 7 stories on top of each other. But it actually helps. Means you are, even at nishta, this is another shocker. I first heard it from Gopi Parandana Prabhu, and I couldn't believe it. And I even repeated this, and I still couldn't believe it. And those who heard it from me also could not believe it. Because the old understanding was that nishta, basically you're liberated, right? No anarthas means basically, practically you're liberated. Which is, in a sense, correct, meaning that you're liberated in your actions, thoughts, and words. However, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that we have we can say selfishness, egoism, or egocentrism, and we have Krishna consciousness, Krishna centrism, Krishna's interest. Yeah? And he says that in material life, selfishness is above, is higher than Krishna's interest. So in bhakti, we try to reduce selfishness and increase Krishna, love for Krishna, Krishna consciousness. So he says nishta is where it becomes 50-50. Or we can say 51 and 49, or 50.01 and 49.99. Means a little bit more, just a little bit more, that I can choose Krishna consistently, regularly, that I can regularly choose Krishna's interest. So that's all, then you're steady. And you can be steady in words, actions, and thoughts. You're shocked? No. Anybody shocked? You're all... You're shocked? Yeah, but... Oh, good, thank you. At least somebody is shocked. Because I was shocked. Oh, come on, 50% still, selfishness is there. So no worries. You know, even if you have a little selfishness, just as long as you have a little more, a little less selfishness than Krishna interest, you will be steady on this path.
So that means that in this case before, there could be anger, and there could be anger, like, of course, if someone, like, if you see someone maybe blaspheming the name of the Lord or something, you feel anger, but it's not touching you. It's just kind of...
It's not selfish anger.
It's not selfish.
It's not because I am, don't you know who I am, and I am, you know, how dare he do this, right? It's for Krishna.
But even if it is selfish anger, if it's 49%, then it's...
Yeah. Just let's make sure there's 51 on Krishna's side. Okay. So, in other words, you can see that this shaithilya, shithil means cool, cold. So you can even be cold, like in the material world, we are deeply cold towards Krishna. That's the essence of the material conditioning. We are cold towards Krishna. And it's deep, dustyajya, unbigsam, it's unyielding, it's very difficult to give up, right? However, if you're able to overcome it, to overcome this disinterest, indifference towards Krishna, steadily, regularly, you are regularly able to overcome it. Hopefully every day, but at least every Janmashtami. I'm joking. Usually Nitya means every day, at least for japa and everything. Then that's a very short definition of nishta. Of course, these qualities have been called favorable for bhakti. This is, yeah. So what's the difference? Because these qualities could be either Shuddha Sattva for Krishna, or they could be Sattva, Sattvic, still based on my personal interest, selfishness. So it's not easy to distinguish. Of course, Sattva is favorable. Sattva is better than Rajas and Tamas. So it's always glorified. So still, this is the medicine given in the Shikshashtaka. Yes? What's our method? Kirtaniya Sadahari. But how? Trinadepi sunichena tarori vasahishnana amani namana dena kirtaniya Sadahari. This is the medicine ihajani nanuraga. I have no taste. If you have no taste, these are the four things. That's Srila Prabhupada's Rasayana vitamin medicine. Yeah, he told. It's Adi Keshav was his name, right? Obiel Kapoor. His name is Adi Keshav, right? So he said, Swamiji or Abai. How did he call him? Abai. How? Babu. Yeah. Abai Babu. Yeah. Do you have a pharmacy? Do you have some vitamin to get prema? So Srila Prabhupada said, I know the formula. I don't have the medicine, but I know the formula. So what's the formula? Trinadapi sunichana tarori vasahishna. So humbler than the blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, and having respect, offering respect to everybody, and not demanding respect for ourselves. Yes, Lucas?
Srila Prabhupada would often say that he expects his disciples to get fixed up in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
Would he mean to become Nishta? Is that what he meant? Because I heard this, Ravindra Sarup, I think, said this. And I feel like, I don't know, but it's like
too high.
Quite a high stage. Maybe not so many devotees are there yet. What do you think?
Why not? Yes. Fixed up. Yes. Again, as I mentioned, these are not separate buckets. A bucket with Nishta, a bucket with Anartha Nivriti. This is a river, deeper and deeper and deeper, more and more taste. Yeah, so it's expanding. So already, to some extent, even in anishtita, you will have a little Nishta. Sometimes you are steady for all of 5 days, maybe even 6. And then one day we fall down, and before Guru Puja we finish only 15 rounds and not 16. Yes. But still, So yes, Nishta. Yes, Nishta is what we want. This is basically, we want to be Madhyamas, and Madhyama means that you are at least at the sufficient proximity to Nishta that that at least a few friends can tolerate you. Right? Otherwise, how do we survive?
Is it the same in this last verse in the Bhagavad Gita as I always think of?
Manmana bhava.
Same idea?
Yeah. So that's the mind. Yeah. Manmana bhava mad bhakto. Of course, this is Srila Prabhupada's genius. Yenatena prakarena mana Krishna niveshet. He gives us different kinds of service, and this is also the task of a leader to create different services, even challenges that are interesting for devotees to engage in. So then you are thinking about Krishna when you are trying to make a very beautiful deity worship arrangement or distribute books, or you are thinking of Krishna directly or indirectly, and because of difficulties you have to take shelter in Krishna. So you are thinking of Krishna all the time. You can think of Krishna all the time. Marathons, for example. I remember one devotee was saying that, yes, during this marathon I feel like in the very early days of Krishna consciousness, that in the evening I don't want to sleep, and when I go to sleep I think, yes, tomorrow I will wake up and again we will have Krishna and books and japa. Right? So that's complete absorption, right? And this is just, 6-7 years in Krishna consciousness. And sometimes it is like this. Some festival, some retreat, we go to sleep and we think, yes. And we get up and think, yes. Right? And in the night you dream about Krishna. So that's Nishta in the mind. But still, sometimes this challenge may come, that challenge may come, so that may require still some work. Srila Prabhupada was very generous. He was saying, look, these boys and girls, they have completed anartha nivritti. Yes, 4 regulative principles, no meat, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So anartha nivritti done. They are steady. Already 12 months they are training. True. So Prabhupada was very generous. And then after Nishta comes what? Ruchi, taste. Yes. After Nishta comes Ruchi, taste. So this is the next shower of nectar. The shower of nectar. In chapter 5. So taste. Kabe habe, say dinamar, when this day will come. When aparadas will go away and I will have taste. Yes? So when we are able to steadily choose Krishna, giving up the unyielding disinterest in Shravanam Kirtanam, deeply ingrained, then we discover deeper and deeper and stronger taste. And again, it's very generous. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that first it can be conditional taste. His kirtan, yes. His kirtan. I'm sorry, I have to do this before I come. I'm a little busy. Even that, he says, it's already it can be still ruchi. Yeah. Yeah. Very generous. So you can say, I'm sorry, but I still have a conditional taste. So, even that is acceptable sometimes, right? One very beautiful thing about this stage, you are never tired. Not like really never tired, but he says something very risky. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is very he says, you can be tired, but it's like lovers after the night of passionate love. They are tired, but not really. They're happy. Tired, but still happy. And they can do anything. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it's very graphic, right? Like, okay. Clear. So taste. This is the power of taste. So if somebody can go on year after, so you can see we have disciples of Srila Prabhupada and grand disciples who can go on for decades, tirelessly, on 3 hours of sleep or something. We have, or traveling, which is quite exhausting, and all kinds of things, and they continue. So there must be some taste. Right? So this is another thing from here, from Ruchi. Then the next nectar shower is asakti. Asakti. So asakti means strong attachment and eagerness, strong longing, desire. And what's the difference between taste and strong eagerness, asakti? The example given, interesting example given, is that at Ruchi, even you have taste. You are chanting Hare Krishna, do you have the experience of chanting somewhere in a forest or in a park? Yeah? It happens so often, you know, all of a sudden some big dragonfly comes, you know, or some very funny bird, you know. Or once there was a dragonfly and a wasp and they started fighting. You know, so obviously you watch the fight, you know. It's so dramatic. So he says, even at Ruchi, when you see an amazing bird, you can sit under a tree and then you see some kingfisher coming, you know. You know what's a kingfisher? It's blue feathers. And your mind is distracted. So in other words, he says, you don't notice how your mind goes away from Krishna. Whereas in asakti, you don't notice how your mind goes from material things to Krishna. In ruchi, you don't notice how your mind goes from Krishna to material things. And at asakti, you don't notice how the mind goes from material things. You know, you discuss with somebody, yeah, we should buy potatoes and or maybe sweet potatoes. And yes, there are nice sweet potatoes in Vrindavan, and Vrindavan is so nice. You remember we went to Radharaman. Yes, Radharaman is so beautiful. Krishna is so wonderful. We should read more about Krishna and do kirtan. No. So you don't notice how you were talking about potatoes and you end up thinking about Krishna. That means the mind becomes your friend. And that's the minimum price we need to pay. That's actually it's already half a silver rupee, for which you can buy asakti, means you can buy lila yukta nama. Lila, you can see lila comes alive. It's Swarasiki mantra. You chant Hare Krishna, and naturally, without any artificial forcing your thoughts, you start seeing some lila unfolding before your heart's eye. So that's asakti. And then, why bhava bhakti is so rare, sudurlabha? Because we don't have asakti. We don't want to serve Krishna like this, so strongly. So that's why we don't have ecstasy. No hunger, no ecstasy. No hunger for Krishna, no ecstasy. And then, if you do have asakti, then bhava, this is a ray of prema beginning to melt our heart, and it flows in ecstasy. That's bhava. And we have these amazing descriptions, how we smell Krishna, we hear Krishna's name. So this is the Swarupa Shakti, from the other side, some transcendental ray of transcendental energy touching our heart. So this is already a complete transcendental revelation. That's the success of our sadhana. So bhava, the heart begins to melt, but already we have the ray from the other side, from the sun of prema. And prema is the whole heart melts completely. So that's prema. And then all the fun begins. Then you have sneha, pranaya, sneha, mana, raga, anuraga, bhava, mahabhava, and so forth. So, a little book, but very mighty, very powerful. A lot of very helpful points. Even the aparadas he discusses to some extent, what to avoid, and all the obstacles on different levels, and all the positive things, and all the attractive features of the higher levels. So, Krishna loves you because he sends you Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. You know the Valari Manjari? Yeah? Who gives you all these amazing books with all these, everything, you know, every step of the way, all the different areas, the map is given. Even when it's not clear, when good qualities go there and bhakti maybe matches, maybe not, because we have different dimensions, he explains what's the actual answer. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so homework, continue praying for other devotees. Homework number 2. Be good enough that somebody can tolerate you and be your friend and discuss Krishna with you when you discuss Krishna with them. So that's our important program. Make friends in Krishna consciousness. And 1, 2, 3, 4, several. I mean, we are friendly to everybody, but we need to have some. We need to have a few friends who know our worst secrets. And still they are our friends. It helps if your worst secrets are not so bad, but so that's called anartha nivritti. But it also means you tolerate them. You know, that's the catch. This is the catch, that you also tolerate him or her, and you tolerate their worst secrets, and you don't run away from them. Yeah, and you speak about Krishna. You speak about Krishna and chant Hare Krishna, and are consistently able to give up the weeds and choose Shravanam Kirtanam. Okay? Some questions or points? Something?
This point is still haunting me. We were discussing today morning about the Vishnu Chakravarti say that for a devotee there's still karma.
Uh-huh.
And since I know that you are also doing astrology, so I would like to know from the viewpoint of a devotee astrologer, like, because it happens so many times. I've seen my own chart, for example, that I enter like Mongol, you know, like some
Yes.
inauspicious or
Yes.
so-called inauspicious period. I can really see that, and I can realize and notice that although like I'm trying to be some sort of a devotee.
So how are you free from karma if your chart shows it? Yeah. Easy. Well, first of all, a disclaimer, I'm not an astrologer. I studied astrology systematically, but then I found out that it's too much to study. You have to study every day for 4 hours to even begin to practice it. But the answer to this is simple. Astrology is a language. And language can describe material things. Material language can describe material things. But the same material language can describe spiritual things. That's the mystery of bhakti. That this is the question in 1087.2, Prayers of Personified Vedas. How material language can describe transcendental Krishna. So astrology is just like a mirror or a language. Just like English or German can describe transcendental Krishna and Krishna Lila. So in the same way, astrology normally shows karma, but in case of devotees, shows their spiritual development and Krishna's mercy and even Lila. As you can read in Srimad Bhagavatam, even Krishna had a chart. And if you look at Krishna's chart, you will see, oh, he's so beautiful. Oh, he's so powerful. Oh, he can kill demons just by snapping his fingers. But he has a troubled love life. Some separation is there. You can see, it's there. It's amazing, it's very impressive. His chart is very, usually, that's how they study astrology, from avatars' charts. But is it karma? Obviously, it's not karma, it's transcendental lila. Okay, he's God. What about, but you can see also, Parikshit Maharaja's life was totally predicted in the first canto. It's also he's a devotee from before birth. He got Krishna's darshan before being born, in the womb of Uttara. And Srila Prabhupada also, we see that they predicted he'll build a house in which the whole world can live, he'll build build 100-something temples, he'll do this, he'll do that. So charts describe not only karma, they describe events, and in case of devotees, this is lila. Now, another question, then if it's described in the chart, where is the free will and choice, freedom of choice? Do you have this question? Or do you have? Or is it clear? Not clear? Okay. So, ability to predict does not deny freedom of choice at all. It's a logical fallacy to think that if you can predict, there is no freedom. It's like if you look out of the window and you see there is a guy walking down the road, and then he comes to a turn, and you see he's turning left, right? So your seeing it does not deny his freedom or his choice. That's his choice, to turn left. You can see, but that's his choice. So just as you see in space, you can see in time. It does not deny the freedom of choice. It's still the person's choice and free will. It's just that if someone is super expert, they can see something. Not so clearly, not everything 100%. That's why it's so useful to study some astrology, because you see that it's not a precise science, and there is a variety of choices. So there is freedom of choice, and it just describes the events. And in case of a non-devotee, this is karma. In case of a devotee, this is Krishna's mercy. And it's not karma, it's his devotional service and his advancement. That will be still scheduled by these planets and periods and dashas.
So we could say it's like scheduled purification.
Yeah, yes, yes. Like a weather forecast, Right. It's still, so the same weather, the planets, but one person does some nonsense, the other person does devotional service. So it's just the weather forecast which shows what will be the weather. This is a stormy day, this is a sunny day, this is a rainy day, so you can see. Basically, that's what you use astrology for. Okay? Yes?
But then my question is, like, why does it have to be scheduled in the same way like the normal person gets the material purification? I mean,
it's not the same. You will also see that there is going to be Krishna's mercy, and you can go through this on different levels. So if a person doesn't perform devotional service, there will be some gross trouble. But and you can see that astrology is also coming from Shastra, Brihat Parashara, Hora Shastra, and Parashara is a very elevated devotee, extremely exalted Vaishnava. So when he describes, he says, okay, when this period, if your Mercury, for example, is in Pisces and aspected by Saturn and Mars, so when the Mercury comes, then the government will take away your house, your children will be sick, your intelligence will be dull, your speech will be stulted, and you will lose your cows. Your cows will be lost. And if it's in the 7th house, your wife will leave you. He will say like this. But he doesn't stop there. He says, therefore, in the beginning of this period, you chant Vishnu Sahasranam. Or if it's Ketu, on Tuesday, give a good Brahmana a brown goat. Nowadays, goats are not so practical. Like if you give a brown goat to Dinoy Doyal Prabhu, you'll have trouble in the airport, to bring it back to Dublin. But you can take some other Ketu item, like, some MP3 player or, brown, also brown, you know, and also give it on Tuesday. It's still the same, meaning that you lose or voluntarily something to the same planet under its influence, but consciously to a good person, you give it to a good person, so you burn this karma, whatever, or that's on a physical level. On a subtle level, that it means that you respect persons connected with these different planets. On even more subtle level, that you are most of astrological problems are solved by being humble, respectful, and detached. If you're humble, respectful, and detached, then the planets are happy with you. What else? What else they will? I mean, so maybe there'll be a rainy day or something, but it's going to end well. So it just shows the weather. The Prabhupada says, if it rains, it doesn't mean that you just stay wet. You take an umbrella. So the Vaishnavas give the remedies, upayas, they give the remedies, and the more elevated the person, the more subtle and the more devotional is the remedy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for example, writes in his Swalikita Jivani that, yeah, this person came, I gave him the book to read, and he never gave it back. So he says, yes, when Ketu period comes, some trouble will be there. He says like this, he writes like this. But he accepts and he lets go. So it's not karma. It may look like karma. The pattern will be similar, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is adamant. It's not karma. It's all under Krishna's... Because what is karma? Karma is blind, bureaucratic, impersonal bondage. Chains. That's karma. But if it's under Krishna's supervision, even if it will correspond to my karma more or less, because my karma shows which lessons I haven't learned, which lessons I need to learn. So even if I put tulsi beads on my neck and hand into this nice bag, with a finger, still I have to learn the same lessons. So therefore it will still be, similar. But Krishna will see, oh, he has this nice bag on his hand. Okay, so then he'll personally supervise the lesson. Okay? So it's not karma in that. It's not blind, just impersonal forces of nature. Okay?
You mentioned there are different translations. Which one is the best? I've seen on ISKCON Desire is one that they say this one is the best. But there's no name on it.
I have seen in one, I think there is one collection of books. So this one, Dinabandhu Prabhu's, I think this was with Bhanu Swami's contribution, and then Dinabandhu Prabhu sort of, there is a preface, he describes how it's been put together. So it's been said that this is a better translation. Okay. And I've just checked the newer, or the newest recent publication from Bhanu Maharaj, or rather 2015, I think he published it. And I've checked, and it's very similar to this. So I think it was done by Bhanu Swami partially, and he just re-edited this and printed or published this recently. So basically I understand this is quite good, this one. But there are 2 or 3 or 4 different editions. Anyway, we need to learn and relearn. Basically, whichever you put in practice for developing your taste, this is the best translation. And that's possible only if devotees will give you good wishes. So, let's give each other good wishes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. happy trails on the path to Krishna. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, ISKCON Zurich, ISKCON Switzerland ki jai.
Krishna devotees.